All right, it is a gold jacket Thursday here on Rothman and Ice. This man was the middle linebacker of a defense that many would say was the best of all time. The 85 Chicago Bears defensive coordinator Buddy Ryan created a demolition crew, and I would consider this man to be the wrecking ball of it. With us now from football heaven in Canton, class of 98, Hall of Famer Mike Singletary, number 50. It's an absolute honor. I hope you're well.
Well, thank you very much, and I am. Thank you.
Mike, I recently learned you were the youngest of 10 children and you had to grow up fast. I would ask you, when and how did you fall in love with this great game of football?
Well, actually, coming from a Pentecostal home, my father was a Pentecostal pastor, so sports was not allowed in our family. So I had to go by it in a very interesting way. I just kind of played sandlot football around the neighborhood, probably at 9, 10 years old, 11. And when I was 12, my mom and dad divorced, and my brother Grady was killed in an automobile accident. And my mom asked me if I could be the man of the house. And that whole thing changed my life. And I realized at that time that I needed to get on with my my vision in life. I needed to start my life, and so football was the thing that I loved the most. And at that particular time, there was a speaker, a writer by the name of Norman Vincent Peale that I don't know how I got a hold of his cassette tapes, but they came to my home and I started listening to them, maybe 9, 10, 11 years old, and I loved them. It taught me how to close my eyes and envision what I wanted in life. And so at that time, that's what I began to do. And so I knew I couldn't play sports. I knew that I couldn't, do those things. But when my mom asked me if I could be the man of the house, all of a sudden, everything was kind of upside down. And I asked my mom if I could play football. And it was a struggle. I begged her. I drove her stone nuts. And finally, she agreed to let me play as long as I didn't get hurt. And so that was kind of ironic. But I just started playing the game of football, and I learned very early on that I like hitting people. And that was the thing that excited me more. And I had so much stuff going on inside me at that time that it gave me an outlet of the frustration and the hurt, the pain, and all the things that I had seen in my family, being the last of 10 kids, brothers in and out of jail, sisters having babies out of wedlock. It was all hell breaking loose every day, it seemed like. And so football was a way for me to escape and be in love with something that I just had joy. It brought joy to me. And so that was really that's the story of me playing football.
It's cool stuff. Mike, you had such a tremendous career at the NFL level, but I want to go back to your college career and just reading up on some of the things you did at Baylor. And there's a few games that jump off the screen where it looks like you had north of 30 tackles in a few games. One of those games against Ohio State. Can you talk about how Baylor and that level of football prepared you to go on to the NFL and become a Hall of Famer?
Well, those Norman Vincent Peale tapes helped me to understand how to set goals and how to achieve those goals. And I think that, when I got to college, and by the way, Baylor was the only school, Division I, that offered me a scholarship to play middle linebacker. There was one other school that offered me a scholarship, but it was to play fullback at the University of Texas. And I told the coach at that time that I could never be a fullback. I despise anybody that had the ball. And so that was just something that it went against everything in my psyche. I couldn't even imagine it. So anyways, very fortunate to go to Baylor. Coach Taft continued to help me develop as a leader. And I remember writing down wanting to be the greatest middle linebacker ever. And, you start by being the best middle linebacker on your team, and then the best middle linebacker in the Southwest Conference, and the best middle linebacker in college. And so as my coaches looked at my goals, it was kind of like, hold on, Mike, this is heavy stuff here. You got to be cognizant of what you're writing. And I said, well, I mean every bit of it. That's what I'm going to do. And so I think after as my freshman year began to unfold, the coaches began to see that, I didn't look like much, but man, when the ball is snapped, I come alive and I make things happen. And I think that my defensive coordinator, my sophomore year, I started halfway through my freshman year, made the freshman All-American team and ended on a good note. And then I came back my sophomore year, and my defense coordinator, he was trying to teach me all that he knew, and I didn't like him because I thought he was too hard on me. Today I realized that if it hadn't been for him, you never would have heard of Mike Singletary. But there were days that he would take me up and sit me in the stands, and I wouldn't look at him. This is after practice. I'd be, because he'd been yelling at me in practice, and I'm sitting there crying, looking straight ahead, and he's talking to me, and he said, "Hey, Mike, you got a game this week. You wrote down you want to be the greatest. You want to be an All-American. You want to be all this. Well, let me tell you something. You're playing against Dwight Stevenson, the greatest center in all of football. This guy's the best I've ever seen. He is an absolute beast. If you can have 20 tackles against Dwight Stevenson when we play Alabama this weekend, people will start looking at you." Well, I ended up having like 27 tackles, and Bear Bryant walked across the field after the game, and he came up to me and he touched me on the shoulder and said, "Hey, son, you're the greatest I've seen since Leroy Jordan," and walked away. My defense coordinator said, "You know who that is? Do you know who that was?" I said, "No, I didn't know. I was still pissed because we lost the game." He said, "That's Bear Bryant. He came over to talk to you, idiot." And so it was that was the start of it. And then speaking of Ohio State, we played Ohio State the next week. Either the next week or a couple over, but then we played Ohio State that year and close to that after that game. And so my coach talked to me again. He said, "Hey, Tom Cousineau is considered the best college middle linebacker. You're going head to head with him. Now, you need 25 tackles in this game against Ohio State to be considered. You got to go take that and show people that you're better. Show people that you deserve to be mentioned as an All-American." And so I ended up having 33 tackles in that game. And after that, it was on. I just continued to understand the power of imagination, being able to envision what you want in life. And, as a matter of fact, I'm writing a book about that right now. And it's just fantastic to be able to pass down something that I learned at 12 years old, being able to help a lot of people today that are trying to figure things out in the world that we live in.
Tremendous. We were talking with the two-time NFL Defensive Player of the Year, 7-time All-Pro, 12 seasons, 179 games, 10 straight Pro Bowls, the one and only Mike Singletary, the Chicago Bears. If my memory serves me correct, Ditka gets to Chicago from Dallas the season after you were drafted. I would ask you what stands out about his first message to the team on his expectations. What do you recall?
Well, it was exactly what our team needed. We needed someone that had a lot of fire and a lot of vision, and he brought both those things. I remember his first speech to our team was that there were not going to be a lot of guys, a lot of faces on this team that stay the same after this year. He said, we are going to get the people in this room that want to win and are committed to football. And that created a revolving door that year. And, about half the guys that were in that room that next year were not there. And we got guys that were tough, nasty, physical, and some of them weren't as great athletes as others. But I tell you what, they'll fight you. And that's what we had. That's what we built. And that's what Coach Ditka envisioned, and that's what we had. And he said in 3 years, if you guys will just stay with me, if you just hang in there with me, in 3 years, we're going to go to the Super Bowl. And,
you did. And you dominated. And, I'll tell you a funny story. Being a kid in Chicago, you guys do the Super Bowl shuffle. I call into a radio station in Chicago, and I swear on my life, Mike, I said, man, I'm worried this is going to be the kiss of death. These guys are celebrating the Super Bowl before they even have it. But Samurai Mike knew something different. You guys must have just had the confidence, and at that time, so many characters and personalities, it probably just brought you closer. Tell me about that time, and also, do you still remember your lines to this day? Can you do the Super Bowl shuffle line, or would you have to see it and read it?
I can do some of them, but in all honesty, I try to forget it every day. But,
I'm sorry I brought it up.
But
that's awesome.
In all honesty, it was probably the stupidest thing that any team could ever do. But I remember Willie Gault came in one day, and the week that we were going to play Miami on that Monday night.
Oh, the only loss, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
He said, Mike, I got something, the Super Bowl shuffle, man. And he said, you got to hear it, and we got to do it, man. You got to get the team. You got to talk to Coach Ditka and have us do this, because all the proceeds are going to go to the poor in Chicago's South Side, and Willie knew that would spike my interest. And so I went up and talked to Coach Ditka about it, and Coach said, hey, you know what, as long as it doesn't affect our game, we're fine. So we decided that we were going to do the taping after the Miami game. So we go up, we play Miami, we lose, we come back. Nobody wants to do the Super Bowl shuffle video taping tape that day. But it was the best thing that could have ever happened to us, because we came in, we were pissed, we were upset, we were angry, we were wondering what the heck happened. It was an amazing game that, coaches about to fight, players about to fight. And that day, we walked into the studio to shoot the Super Bowl shuffle. And after we did that, there were two things that happened. The first response was we were so excited. We were happy. We were belly busting and belly bumping and all kind of stuff and laughing. And we had so much fun. And then we realized, guys, we could be the biggest idiots of all time if we don't stay focused. At that time, we were the youngest team to ever win the Super Bowl. And so here we are. That taping helped us get focused and make sure that every week, week in, week out, that we were ready to play and win. Because if we didn't, we were going to look like idiots. So I think losing to Miami it was a blessing in disguise because we shot the video the next day, came out, refocused, and excited. And the Super Bowl Shuffle started playing that next week. And here we are still playing and, just a little bit past midway of the season, and the Super Bowl Shuffle playing. And teams are fired up. Like, what were we thinking?
You made it last.
Was the best thing we ever did.
Yeah,
it
you
really
made
was.
it. You made it stand up 40 years later.
Yeah.
All right, you're back in Canton. Have you been back since you were inducted in '98? How many times? Or what are you looking forward to the most in the residency and going back? And because I know that day in your speech was probably one of the best speeches I ever heard. You were never going to forget that day for the rest of your life. And now you're back. How does it feel? How's it going to feel?
You know what? Every time I go back, it's an honor. I think about all the people in my life that helped me develop. It helped me keep the focus. No one had to believe in Mike Singletary. I was just this little sickly kid, the last of 10 kids, and the smallest of all my brothers, the least talented. No one expected anything from me. And I'm just so thankful. The Lord was faithful and just continued to stay with me and help me achieve. And my lovely wife being there for me. And there's just so many people to thank. But, my mother and my wife, my wife is my best friend. So when I think about those things, it's just a blessing to be in the Hall of Fame, but there were some pivotal people that really, really helped me to stay focused and allowed me to become the player that I was and finally the man that I continue to strive to be.
What a journey. So well-deserved, so well-earned. I remember you saying in the Football Life documentary that you felt maybe other teams were as talented or more, but no team had more heart in '85, and I think for you, love is probably not a strong enough word to describe the passion you had for this game. As a kid in Chicago, I will tell you made an impact on a league, a team, a city, and so many kids like me who looked up to you as one of the classiest pros ever. I hope you enjoy your time. I know NFL fans will enjoy seeing you, and you'll probably still intimidate people with those eyes, man, but enjoy your time in Canton. Be well, stay healthy, best to your family. Samurai Mike, this was an absolute honor. Thank you.
Thank you. God bless.